Hello everyone and welcome back to another DeckTech and gameplay video. This time we are going to start the week off with a new leader that was revealed on Friday. This is Emperor Palpatine. He's been a long-awaited leader for the game, and I think in my early testing so far, I think he definitely proves to be very strong. So when he was first revealed, I think a lot of people were kind of down on him. Maybe they thought he'd be a little better on paper. Maybe they thought he'd be cheaper. I'm not really sure. But just immediately, I recognized that he is probably the best control leader. And the reason for that is because, I mean, one, his stats, he's a 410. Like, that's huge. Very hard to remove. And secondly, his flip effect just lets you gain control of a unit, non-leader, just by flipping. That does take 8 resources, but he's kind of built to get there pretty easily against anything that's not aggro. So that's a caveat right there. This deck is probably the best version that I've played so far. There's a lot of really cool tricks you can do with the Ruthless Raider that makes this deck very strong. One of the things you can do, for example, is like say you're mid to late game, you have 7 resources or whatever, 8 resources. You can play Ruthless Raider, deal 2 to something uh, to their base, sack Ruthless Raider with Palpatine, deal 2 to something else to their base, deal 1 to something with Palp's ability, and then flip Palpatine, gain control of something. There's some really insane turns that you can do for very minimal setup. You have your obvious ramp cards with the Super Laser Tech and Resupply. I feel like maybe 2 resupply is enough, but right now there's 6 ramp cards. Your package for removal is Force Throw, Force Choke, and Open Fire. The throw is kind of a hot topic. I think that this deck really needs throw because around turn 7, 8 is when you really want to start locking up the game. You really want to be able to remove these like Luke unit cards, Vader unit, like the larger units, or maybe even some of the leaders that are still lingering around. You can, flip Palpatine, do your stuff, and then force throw like the Devastator in your hand or the Walker or whatever to remove whatever the biggest threat is. It's, again, it's tested very well against any mid range or control deck. So I like the direction this deck is going in. The Rook is something that I tried and didn't really love that much, but for now, I'm gonna stick with it. I don't know if it'll stay in the final version, but this is really just a good starting point. The like I said, aggro is still something that's been a challenge. So your sideboard would have to be heavily dedicated to beating aggro. You'd probably want to play cell block guards. You might want to play a couple copies of Traitorous. I'm not really sure what else you could play offhand, but you could definitely make some changes to make the aggro matchup a little better. The Devastator is basically in there to either close out a game or just to throw with Force Throw. It could very easily be a third Palpatine. It could be basically anything. So you just want something that costs 7 or more to be able to throw and just one shot all of the uh, better leaders like Luke, Krennic, Boba Fett, and kind of just take him out with one card. The Ozzel, Yularen, and Veers are your officials for the Royal Guard. You have to have one in play in order to make it a Sentinel. So I've liked where that's been. I don't think I'd change that at all. The Mahdi is also an official technically, but usually he's like a late game combo card. Um, the Fifth Brother's in there to enable an early force throw if you need to. Other than that, everything's kind of self-explanatory. The walkers are in there to stabilize. Palpatine's in there to close the game. Shore troopers just a solid beater. So yeah, I played some games against Zuhair on Loot Green. These are the first games I played with this deck, but since then I've played against basically everything. Iden, I've played against Krennic, I've played against Vader. I've played against other control decks. This deck is by far and away the best in-game deck in the entire game. With Palpatine's flip, there's really nothing that they can do to play around it and make sure that you steal their best card at the time and kind of end the game. So let's just take a look at how these games went, and then I'll talk about just a couple things moving forward. So let's move into the games here. Play. These were played on Saturday, I believe, maybe Friday, so about 3 days ago. So this hand has basically everything I want. It has an official, it has ramp, it has a barrage for late game. So might not need both these ramp cards. So I think the tech is always your best bet, because even without ECL, you can always either just play it on 3 or play it on 4 and use Palpatine's ability. So Luke has their ideal start with the Dispatcher. We have Ozzel, which is also pretty good. It's going to shield it. So what we can do here with the initiative is we can play an untapped Super Laser Tech. There's another one. So I probably should have kept that and just resourced the Rook, but then I wouldn't have anything to play next turn. So I kept it for now. But Rook is just kind of an aqua card in this deck. I don't think it's really needed. Probably want more defense. It's, of some kind. So see what he does with the Dispatcher here. This could get out of control if he can just keep ramping with Dispatcher. But our hand is pretty set up to deal with anything that he could really play. Yeah, we're just... so the life's messed up, so we do actually end up making a new table after this game. So he takes out our Ozzel there. So that's a pretty good turn for us, because he didn't really develop anything worthwhile. Just has 3 random 1-power guys in play. They are pretty annoying, but they're not really doing anything to advance his board. So we have 2 8-drops in our hand. We got to pick one to resource. The way this game's going, we're probably not going to need the walker. So we take out his Dispatcher just immediately and ramp to 5. And our Root can really take out anything that he plays here. Well, that's annoying because he can shield it, but also not the end of the world. This Raider is going to be pretty good for us next turn. He is down to 2 cards in hand. So he heals 1, goes to 1. We go to 1, or 2 rather. The drawing Vader there is pretty good. Not going to need this open fire. We need to play the Raider to take the shield off of the Defender. He should go to 3 here, but I think with a life being messed up, or either he didn't do it or it was just overlooked. So Rook's going to take out the Defender. And we have our next 2 turns pretty much mapped out now. with a barrage in hand, and all he really has is yeah. I mean, Obi-Wan's not really that scary, especially without a shield. Yeah, I think he realizes that that's not going to really do anything. So he's just going to go into his Luke turn a turn early. No big deal. We'll take initiative. He brings out Luke. Puts us to, I believe, 10. Yeah, 10. 11, 12. He heals to 0, which should be 2. Go to the next turn. So this is a pretty big turn for us. We have to really establish something. Our hand is very good. So our options are either like Barrage, which doesn't really do anything here. We can Barrage the Raider, which doesn't really help us. So we just go into Vader. Probably, it's probably the best play here to establish a board. I mean, alternatively, we could play Barrage, deal like 5 to Luke and take a shield, and then attack with the Raider and sack it off later to kill Luke, deal damage to something else, and set up for a steal next turn with Palpatine. But we kind of just want to set up for next turn. The guard is nice. Veers is nice because Veers will make Vader 6. It also pumps Rook and the Raider. Mahdi is interesting to set up for next turn, but I don't think the board really set this up for Mahdi very well. So going into Veers is seemingly the best play here. You know, again, that makes Vader a 6/8, which puts Luke 1 damage away from just being killed. Vader is going to hit Luke. The only way we really get punished here is if he has Luke Saber. But that's kind of the chance we have to take right here at the moment. We really don't have any other play. His board's not very threatening, but we are at 12. So we do have to be a little careful here. You'll realize that quite a few games with Palpatines that your life will go to 20, 21, 22 pretty much every time before you finally stabilize and lock the game up. So he's putting a shield on Akbar. That's fine. We go to 16. So now Rook can either take out Luke, he can take a shield. We also have the Raider. Next turn, we can always sack it with Palpatine. And you should never be afraid to sack your 6-drop. I mean, I know that sounds kind of rough, but, you know, just the fact that you can divide damage quite a bit with the Raider plus Palpatine's ability, it's very good. So he plays Luke. For a second, I think that it kills my Rook, but then realize that, you know, A, I have Veers out, and B, nothing on his side has died this turn. But he also has to be very careful to not just get his Luke stolen. So there's Obi-Wan. It gets taken out. So now Luke's going to get a couple XP counters, I believe. No, he's put him on Akbar. Okay. kills Veers. Trades the shield. We take initiative here. We go to 17 off the damage. And now we have a pretty good board for our Palpatine turn. Luke is going to be easily killed here. His Akbar doesn't have a shield, etc. We have Yularen to start healing back some life here. As long as he doesn't have anything crazy, we should be okay. So we need to take out this Luke right away. Our options are either basically sack the Raider to deal like 2 damage to like Luke, I guess, a damage to Akbar, just some combination of that. We can OB with Vader here. We can, we have several different options. We're going with the OB play. Vader makes it so it's 7. So we can do one to Luke, 6 to Akbar, technically. Yeah, okay. And he has to be really mindful here of what he plays, right? Because if he plays a big unit to try to end the game, I can just steal it with Palpatine very easily with what we have in play and basically turn the game in our favor. So he goes with Luke to kill the Vader. Probably kills Vader. I mean, I guess he needs to get rid of the Rook too. Yeah, opts to go with Vader. We put him to 7 here. He puts us to 18, and then now we can kind of really start taking the game over. We're going to sack the Raider. I can take the shield off of the dispatcher here. Maybe he just didn't realize that I wanted to do that, but no big deal. And then now we really just start taking this game over. All he has in play is a dispatcher, and we have Luke, Palpatine, Yularen, Rook. We're healing every turn now with Yularen. So this is going to start getting pretty bad for him. And we can start healing with Luke too. So we don't need Ozzel here. We already have Palpatine for our Admiral, or for our Official, as well as Yularen. Yeah, there's no reason to keep Ozzel. So our plays here, I mean, we could play like Interceptor, Fifth Brother, plus Shore Trooper. We can play like Barrage plus whatever. So he's playing Luke to kill Rook. It's fine. He can shield Luke, but I don't think we're going to let him get to that point. I think here we'd probably just Barrage on Luke. Yeah. And then that's going to be game. Yeah. Once you get to a certain point with Palpatine, there's really just no way for your opponent to come back. You know, maybe you'll be at 20-ish life, but as long as you just hang tough, just realize that your late game is always going to be better, you can definitely always end the game. So I'm just going to skip ahead here shortly because we make a new table. There we go. Okay. So we'll go into our resources here. I'll just pause a second because I skipped ahead a little bit here. So our hand is Barrage, Ozzel, Guard, SLT, Veers, and Short Trooper. So that's a very, very, very good hand. We have everything that we possibly want. We have the official into Royal Guard. We have ramp. So he has dispatcher again, which is frustrating, but you know it's part of the game. We do that. So drew 2 more good cards. I don't want a resource Derator here, but I really don't want a resource Laren either. So our options now are basically either just play the guard or use Ozzel to play like an SLT. Ramping here is not really going to help us. So I think just playing the guard is the best course of action here. He plays his own guard, and we basically just have to take initiative, and he's going to shield it. So the throw is not going to help us here, so we can safely resource that. So now we just have a few options. We could use Ozzel to play the SLT untapped. We can just play it and plan to sacrifice it with Palpatine, which is probably the play. But we do use Ozzel here. But we do have the option at least to sacrifice the tech with Palpatine. Yeah, the fact that all of his guys are shielded is definitely annoying. So we take a shield and he puts 4 on our guy here. So we could just trade our guard for his. We can use Palpatine. Let's see what he does. Plays Kanan. So he can shield Kanan here too, which is definitely annoying. So I think what we want to do is put a damage on Kanan, just so at some point, if we get there, we can steal him. Yeah, we're just taking the shield here. Drew Ramadi off the Palpatine ability. He shields Kanan, and then we take initiative. So we're farther behind this game. The Kanan having a shield is very annoying, but we are in a spot where we can kill his dispatcher here. The OB is not going to help us. Our play this turn is a little weak. Okay, there's Devastator. That's good for us because we definitely didn't want to draw that anytime soon. So I think our only real play is play Raider and take the shield off Kanan. Which is unfortunate because he can resupply into his Luke turn. And we're going to fall behind pretty quickly here. Do we have our own resupply? But going to 8 this turn for Palpatine isn't going to help us that much at the moment. What we really need to do is try to get rid of this Luke as soon as possible. Can't really do it with anything we have in play, unfortunately. So we have to play this Vader and hope to get a pretty good flip from it. Like a Royal Guard would be great. But if he has a big unit follow-up, that's probably pretty bad for us. So we do opt for the Vader here. For a second, I try to figure out if I can do some like Ozzel shenanigans where he'll come into play untapped at some point, but I don't think there's any way to use Ozzel to where Vader will be untapped after the ambush. Since Ozzel's effect puts him into play ready. It's a little different from Slave 1, where Slave 1 says when it enters play, you can ready it. So we did get the Royal Guard here. I think that's a pretty easy take. Nothing else there is really helpful. So we're just going to kill the Battlefield Marine and hope our guard can kind of hold it down here. If we can get to next turn at a reasonable life total, the Palpatine ability can get us right back into it. But if he has like Luke unit here, yeah, which he does, he can just take out the guard and hit us for quite a bit. And also make it to where I can't steal his Luke. So I actually have to use Ozzel here to just attack his Luke unit, or else there's no way for me to ever steal it. But we are going to... well, no, he decides that. He might have been able to just go to my face there, put me to 16, but he opts to just take my unit out instead, which is fine. Yeah, so he does put me to 12. I have to take initiative so I can steal his Luke, so I can't do anything with the Raider here. Drew the Ozzel doesn't really do anything, so he gives us resource, and then as first action, we have to just steal his Luke. So he has to remove this right away, or else we're going to be able to barrage with him. Okay, Luke Saber. That gives him a shield, which is definitely annoying. The shield is the really annoying part there, because otherwise we can just barrage him. But now we can't. So our options now are basically... let's see. We can Mahdi to try to set something up. We can... Choke doesn't do anything. Barrage doesn't do anything. We can play the Raider to take the shield off of the Luke. Yep. He should be at 4, I think. I don't know if he did that. But the strike through there is definitely like really bad for me. So there's no way. So 7, 11 puts me to 23. I don't think there's anything I can do here to survive this turn. We can attack with Palpatine to sacrifice that Raider. Deal 3 to Luke. And then force choke him. But we're still taking all this damage. So we play Mahdi there. I don't think Mahdi was the right play, but I also don't think that force choking all of his units was the right play either. So So we attack Luke. Sacrifice Mahdi, draw a card, untap Palpatine, and there should be 1 extra damage on something. So there's really nothing we can do here, even with Barrage. Like his Kanan having 2 shields, there's no way for me to remove it. That is a weakness of the red-black cards, is that everything is damage-based. So once things start building up a critical mass of shields, there's really nothing I could do to kill any of his units. So we do drop that game. I feel like he had a pretty good draw, which was unfortunate for us. Our draw wasn't awful, but his late game, the strike true really sealed the deal for him. If he didn't have the strike true, I think we could have stabilized there and won that game pretty handily, but didn't work out. So that hand, there's no turn 1 plays, so we really can't keep it. This hand is significantly better. We don't need this Devastator, and the 5th Brother is probably not something we really want here. It's good to ping off shields, but you know, I think everything else in our hand is significantly better. All right, so he doesn't have the Dispatcher this game, so we don't need to worry about him ramping it in anything too worrisome. The Restored Arc is kind of whatever. So our options now are to play a Royal Guard, or we can just resupply. I think playing the Guard is best because we want to establish something on the ground to be able to combat him if he plays a Kanan at some point, or like an Echo-based Defender. The Royal Guard plays very well into Echo-based Defender. Alright, we get hit for 2, and we can just take initiative here without fear of anything he really does. So he does play the Defender. Fine. So now that we drew the Super Laser Tech, I think resourcing the resupply is probably fine, because the tech is basically just a better resupply in this deck. So we can intercept his arc here. We can do Super Laser Tech, sack with Palpatine. We have lots of different options. I'm not really in a hurry to Super Laser Tech here because we already have a play for next turn with the Rook. But we opt to just kill his guy right away, just in case he has some kind of like wing leader shenanigans that would be bad for us. So he is going to just ECL his Kanan to mill us here. He's not going to heal. So we can now just safely Tarkin Town the Kanan and intercept the Restored Arc and be ahead on board and have a Rook that we can actually just play on tap next turn. Okay, so no, we opt to keep Tarkin Town. I don't know if that was a right or not, but keeping Tarkin Town means that we can kill an Obi-Wan or other late game threat much easier. Okay, so now I think I thought it through a little more. We both agreed that the Tarkin Town play was better. So he plays a Marine, And he's probably just going to shield it here. His turn's a little weak, which is totally fine with us. So now's a really good chance to play the Super Laser Tech and the Shore Trooper. So something that I should have done here, just to pause just for a second. So I paid 3 resources for the tech, right? So what I could have done is just use the 4th resource to use Palpatine's ability, sack the tech, take the shield off of the Marine, give me a 6th resource that's untapped, and then use my last 2 to play the Shore Trooper. I think that would have been a better use of resources, but this deck is incredibly hard to play properly. And I think this is like my 3rd ever game with it. Not that that's an excuse, but it's just seeing all the different lines at one time and in real time is pretty difficult. So rewatching this, I can see that it would have been a better use of resources to sacrifice the tech with Palpatine, and then comes down as a resource untapped, and then play the Shore Trooper. And I don't think it matters that much in the long run. It's just more more efficient. And then he wouldn't have that shield on there, and that would just be a 6/4 with no shield that I could kill very easily with the Shore Trooper. So I don't care if he has the initiative here. We just hit him for 3, and then 2 more with Ozzel. Or I could just also take the shield too, but I think it's hit him for the base is the best here. So here we drew 2 cards we didn't really want, but the Interceptor is definitely the worst of the 2. And now he has the option to take out something with the Marine here. But he decides to go to the face for 6, which is fine. So now I just go to 7 resources here. We can kill this Marine with the Trooper very easily. We can just Vader Obi-Wan as well. If we Vader the Obi-Wan, we can't kill the Marine as easy. A guard here would be pretty good. Yeah, so there's a Royal Guard. That's probably the best play here. The tech's not really very good, and the Ozzel we don't need either. So I think just getting the 3/5 makes us a lot less vulnerable here. He can't just hit our base again for 8 damage. So we're ambushing the Obi-Wan here. Dude's going to bring out Luke, and then we're probably just going to kill the Obi-Wan here by, let's see, a couple different options. I don't really fear the Luke here with the Royal Guard in play. There's nothing he can really do to kill the guard this turn. He's going to have a lot of things in play with damage, and this Palpatine leader is going to be able to do pretty much whatever he wants. He's down to 2 cards in hand. So he hit his base for 3 with the Interceptor. Currently, our Vader's safe from damage. Our Royal Guard safe. He just makes a giant Battlefield Marine. It's fine. He took initiative and realizing that just deploying Luke doesn't really do anything for him. And we drew the Palpatine unit here and a second Vader. So I think now we're perfectly fine. He can use Strike True here, which he thought about doing. Oh yeah, I don't have an official anymore because of Ozzel. So that was another small mistake actually. Is that I should have just used a Shore Trooper to kill his Obi-Wan and keep my official out. So that's something else you really got to watch out for in this deck. So now it's like I have to make sure I don't just randomly lose to his Luke flipping, dealing some amount of damage. We can set up to steal his Battlefield Marine if we want to. But we can also just play the Palpatine leader, which is unofficial. So the best thing to do, I think, is to just start attacking his base. As soon as he deploys Luke or anything relevant, we can just play the Palpatine unit, which gives us an official. We can also deploy Palpatine leader at any point for an official to give the guard Sentinel again. We do have lethal in play with our units. Yeah, so now we're just going to play the Palpatine. 6 damage, it really doesn't matter. Yeah. So I did 5 and 1 so I can steal his Marine if we need to. Five on Luke, so he can't just attack the Royal Guard and kill it and survive. They have to trade. And my guard would live, actually. So he goes with Jedi Lightsaber, which makes Luke a 7/8. Seal his unit here. And now 4, 7, 10. We have plenty in play to survive. He does have 8 damage, so he can put us to 24. So our misplay to not take out his Obi-Wan with a Shore Trooper cost us 6 damage, and we almost lost this game. So I could go for lethal and just attack his base. What I'm thinking about is that I don't want to randomly lose to Rebel Assault. So I'm trying to figure out what the best way is to kill Luke here. And then I think we're fine. I don't want to just randomly lose to something ridiculous. So he has 10 defense, so 5 left. So what we can do here is, so he just scoops it up. But what we can do is we can just attack with Palpatine, probably destroy our own Vader to deal damage to Luke, which puts him at 4 life left, and then the Palpatine attack goes through to deal the last 4. So, but that's the game. Looking at the list again here, like I was saying, all the cards that are currently in here, I feel like have earned a slot. Mahdi is okay, and some other games that we played, Mahdi won me 1 or 2 of them, but like if it's not in here at all, it's probably no big loss because he's very bad against aggro. Yeah, so if you're going to mess with this at all. The flex spots are like Devastator, two Moddies, and then the fifth brothers could be, maybe something else, which makes force throw weaker. So, you know, just mess around with it. This is a very good starting point. This deck I like quite a bit. Like I said, it was beating Iden. It was doing very well against Boba. Doing well against Krennic. Not so hot against aggro, but that's something that we're working on trying to improve. Um, it might just be that Palpatine is like, the like check for the format, as in it's the deck that checks Boba Fett and other control decks, but is weak to aggro. Like maybe that's fine. I don't know. But for now, I'm happy where it is. And tomorrow or Wednesday, I will have another Palpatine video, and it will be a yellow version that I actually like quite a bit and is much better than I expected. So, thanks for tuning in to day one of Palpatine Week, and I will see you again in a day or two with a new video. Thank you.